One Zambia, One Nation. A warm welcome to the news at 22 hours on ZNBC TV1. To present it, I'm Patricia Ellis. Let's take a look at what's coming up in the news. Councils in the country have been directed to implement policies which will support development at local level. Kabwata Member of Parliament Levi Mukandawire has died. Various stakeholders have welcomed the appointment of Mumba Malila as Chief Justice. And coming up in sports news, golfer Stephen Phiri has been crowned winner of the 2021 Insurers Association of Zambia Golf Tournament that was held in Lusaka. Thank you for joining us. And now the news in detail. Councils in the country have been directed to implement policies which will support development at local level. President Hakainde Hichilema issued the directive at the joint 65th Local Government Association of Zambia annual conference and 18th Alliance of Mayors Initiative on Community Action on AIDS at the local level General Assembly. Speaking at the event in Lusaka today, President Hichilema explained that local government is key in the development of the country because the central government cannot do much on its own. Here's a report.
President Hakainde Hichilema has officially opened this gathering of local government leaders in the country. This is the joint Local Government Association of Zambia Annual General Conference and the Alliance of Mayors Initiative on Community Action on AIDS at local level General Assembly. And during his address to this conference in Lusaka today, the President reiterated the importance of local government system in national development.
Your government is paying particular attention to the appropriateness of policies that we offer to the people of Zambia at the local level, at the central government level. And these two must be harmonized because they're not different. First, we must isolate and agree that the policies that we put for our people are the right ones, are the ones that are for development. And we do believe that they should be. That is why the people of Zambia voted for us, because they walked through our policy offering. And then we must be able to coordinate, implement them effectively. But your central government will support the local government in ensuring effective implementation of the policy. I think you should be happy about that.
And President Hichilema has called on councils to ensure that they support the renewed call for COVID-19 vaccination.
Your government has been able to mobilize, relaunch, and put more energy around the COVID-19 vaccinations. You are leaders here. Leaders in, not just in the councils, in the municipalities, in the cities that you operate. You are leaders in the communities. It's important that you take this message to the communities that we ought to vaccinate. We should vaccinate. I think the superstitions around vaccinations will not save lives.
Meanwhile, local government minister Gary Nkombo has assured stakeholders that guidelines are being developed for the management of the CDF.
I wish to encourage the opposition, members of parliament, mayors, councillors alike to read the new guidelines that are being established and the regulations which will guide the utilization and management of this fund. The guidelines are going to take into account the costs, the quality, and the time of delivery. Extremely important that we shift our mindset to these three governing principles.
And Lusaka Mayor Chilando Chitangala wants the central government to address the poor working conditions in the councils.
Mr. President, as you sit in here, as you see, we are 116 councils. And I must mention that we are very happy to have you here because we want you to also look into the problems that we have here, especially our condition of service as mayors, council chairpersons, and councillors.
Meanwhile, cooperating partners have praised government for the commitment to actualizing the decentralization policy.
I congratulate the New Dawn administration for increasing the Constituency Development Fund from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha to enable more development initiatives at local level, essential to respond to local needs and realities.
There are very good reasons why Germany supports Zambia's decentralization efforts. We strongly believe that decision-making is better when it is done closer to the people.
The conference is being held under the theme Preparedness, Response and Recovery Strategies from COVID-19, Lessons for Local Authorities. Prince Chiuni, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
And President Hichilema has challenged the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, ZAM, to come up with a checklist of what inhibits the growth of the manufacturing sector and their businesses. Speaking during the Economic Transformation Conference hosted by ZAM, President Hichilema said government is working at creating a conducive environment for businesses to thrive through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, which SMEs can take advantage of. Here's a report.
The manufacturing sector remains key to the country's economic transformation. This is because the sector has potential to employ more people, produce higher income, and greater output multipliers in various sectors of the economy. However, this sector has been threatened by a number of factors. Among them is policy inconsistency, unavailability of relevant skills, high cost of borrowing and doing business. And this was what was discussed during the Economic Transformation Conference, which has been hosted by Zambia Association of Manufacturers and officiated by President Hakainde Hichilema.
This government is going to support manufacturers to actualize its promises, its commitments to the voters. And we have a great opportunity to turn around this country's economy. But that will happen through you, working with government. We are saying the provisions in the budget that you may not like were not intended to harm you and your business, if they're there. The provisions that we put that you like were actually intended for you to like them and utilize them. This checklist, the things that are inhibiting growth in our businesses, inhibiting growth in our sector.
The lack of consistent energy has also negatively impacted the manufacturing sector.
We here in this room must work with this government to bring more energy mix sources here. Stop complaining. There's an opportunity. Your complaints must be, and I agree, you haven't raised them, I'll raise them for you, that you have a monopoly of one business that does not allow independent power producers to come through because it's difficult to agree power supply agreements, power purchase agreement. I worked in this sector, advised in this sector for 15 years. I knew this. Now we are in office, we are going to deal with that issue.
And ZAM president said the association is ready to partner with government in attaining economic transformation.
Your government has shown great interest in the manufacturing and value addition sector and has identified this as a key sector for economic and recovery and transformation. In the 2022 national budget, your government has pledged to support the sector through increased public procurement, amongst other tax and non-tax incentives that were pronounced.
Commerce Minister was also in attendance.
We are looking at how MFEZs, multi-economic facility zones, have been performing in the last few years. We are revising and trying to articulate on how best this can contribute to the economy of this country.
Various stakeholders expressed optimism that under the leadership of President Hichilema, the manufacturing sector will thrive.
It is time for Zambia to be the bedrock of being the one that produces goods that are going into our 8-country neighbors. It is time for Zambia to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And as a manufacturing sector, we have positioned ourselves to do that.
We have an opportunity now, through your administration, to fully address issues which create problems to investors in our sector, especially mining. Then and only then will we be able to withstand these shockwaves, because they are but a passing phase. The industry must continue.
We're very, very excited about your leadership and the growth that is going to happen in the sector. Yes, we will be discussing the challenges, but also we'll be discussing the solutions to move the economy forward. And for that reason, we're entirely grateful.
President Hichilema also toured the stands for companies that were exhibiting at the conference. He also re-emphasized the need to ensure COVID-19 is brought under control through rolling out of vaccines so that the manufacturing sector expands. Ruth Chahinda, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Kawata Member of Parliament Levi Mukandawire has died. Mr. Mukandawire died following a traffic accident at his house in Lusaka. The accident happened in Lusaka's Woodlands extension around 12:45 hours at the gate of Mr. Mukandawire's house. Mr. Mukandawire, 60, was crashed against the wall fence of his house by his vehicle, a Toyota IST, which had been hit into by a speeding BMW X5 vehicle. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has confirmed in a statement saying the Kawata lawmaker had apparently disembarked from his vehicle in order to open the gate when the accident happened. Mr. Hamonga has identified the driver of the BMW X5 as Jane Mwale, 39, who is Mr. Mukandawire's neighbor. Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti has also confirmed the death of Mr. Mukandawire during today's parliament session. And President Hakainde Hichilema says he has received with shock and sadness the death of Mr. Mukandawire. President Hichilema says his sympathy and prayers go to the bereaved family. The head of state has also described the late Mr. Mukandawire as a servant of the people who served the people of Kawata and the nation with passion during his short stay as Member of Parliament. This is according to a statement read on behalf of President Hichilema by presidential spokesperson Anthony Walia at State House today.
Notes with great sadness the sudden passing of our Kawata Member of Parliament, Honourable Levi Mukandawire. The President sends his heartfelt prayers and sympathies to the family, friends, relatives, and the nation at large on this tragic loss of life. The President urges all of us to come together in prayer and direct all our thoughts towards the bereaved family.
I wish to acquaint the House with the fact, sadly known, that the House lost one of its members, namely Mr. Levi Mukandawire, Member of Parliament for Kawata Parliamentary Constituency. The late Honourable passed away this afternoon following a traffic accident at his house in Lusaka. Honourable members, I will convey on your behalf the condolences of the House to the bereaved family in due course. May I now request the House to rise and observe a minute of silence in honor of the Honourable late Honourable Member.
Water Development and Sanitation Minister Mike Mposha says government has heightened water testing and distribution of chlorine in areas prone to typhoid and other waterborne diseases. He said this at the launch of the Drinking Water Treatment Sensitization and Chlorine Distribution campaign by the Alliance for World Change and partners in Lusaka. More in the phone report.
A month ago, cases of suspected diarrheal diseases became rampant in selected compounds of Lusaka. But efforts to avoid possible water contamination during the rainy season are being implemented. And Water Development Minister Mike Mposha has taken time to sensitize and distribute chlorine to people of Karingaringa compound.
Water from our Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company network is properly treated, but depending on where the water is stored. While our water is properly treated, they must ensure that where the water is stored in the buckets, they must just add chlorine or boil it before finally it's consumed. That is very, very important.
The sensitization and chlorine distribution exercise is being spearheaded by a local NGO, Alliance for World Change.
We came here to Kalingalinga to undertake this water treatment and sensitization program, and we are very much thankful to the Honorable Minister for having graced this occasion. This shows that he's really concerned about the welfare of his people.
Traders at Chiparamba Market in Kalingalinga, as well as residents, have received the chlorine.
We're thankful for this chlorine. We are assured of having clean and safe drinking water.
Alliance for World Change targets to distribute over 1,000 chlorine to various residential areas prone to waterborne diseases. Lucky Piri, ZNBC News.
Institute of Law, Policy Research and Human Rights Executive Director Joseph Chirwa says the appointment of Justice Mumba Malila as Chief Justice is long overdue and well deserved. Mr. Chirwa says Justice Malila will make a good Chief Justice as he is an avid researcher and writer whose intellect thrills all lawyers. He says Justice Malila is one of the few people to serve twice as Attorney General and commands great admiration and respect among lawyers of all ranks and members of the bench. Mr. Chirwa says this is a good appointment that will help build the jurisprudence of Zambia and exciting for all lawyers. He adds that President Hakainde Hichilema must be commended for making the appointment. This is according to a statement issued to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. President Hakainde Hichilema is expected in Kazungura for a sub-regional forum on children and young people. Presidential spokesperson Anthony Walia says the president is expected to highlight usefulness of policies for a safe Zambia for children. Speaking during a press briefing at State House today, Mr. Walia said President Hichilema is also expected to hold bilateral talks with his counterpart from Botswana. Meanwhile, Presidential COVID advisor Roma Chilengi said the country is at 7.2% COVID vaccination from the 3.2% as of 7th October when the vaccination exercise was relaunched.
The sub-regional forum will take place at Kazungula Bridge in Botswana on Saturday, the 20th of November 2021. Now, during this forum, the President is expected to draw sharp focus on our nation's child policy under the vision a society where children survive, thrive, and realize their full potential. As well as this, the President is expected to highlight the strategic usefulness of this policy in both ensuring and assuring a not only safe Zambia, but also an African continent where children and young people will be given the best possible opportunities to make a success of their lives.
Nationally here, and let me back up and mention that yesterday, His Excellency President Hichilema was having a one-on-one conversation with the Director General of the World Health Organization, and among the several key issues discussed was the matter of COVID-19. And I think there is a reaffirmation that there are enough vaccines on the pipeline that will flow to this country. And the challenge we do have is to make sure that we absorb those vaccines.
Tourism Minister Rodney Skumba says the number of well-trained officers to effectively protect Zambia's wildlife is inadequate. Mr. Skumba was speaking when he graced the special pass-out parade for the Combined Forces Anti-Poaching Training at Chunga Training School in the Kafiwe National Park. He says the training was necessitated by the need to create a force that will be mentored towards one goal and form a single unit with different military backgrounds and expertise such as the officers contained in the group. And British High Commissioner to Zambia Nicholas Woolley said there is need for a unified approach to wildlife conservation if Zambia is to realize positive anti-poaching results. Meanwhile, Department of National Parks and Wildlife Director Chuma Simukonda said there is need for a statutory instrument to actualize the national anti-poaching task. We take our first commercial break, but do stay tuned as we have more news still to come.
The Eden University National Division 1 League hits up with teams drawn from across Zambia. Catch the action live on ZNBC TV3 and never miss the chance to advertise at affordable rates. Call Sales and Marketing on 252-005. It's the Eden University National First Division League live on ZNBC TV3, the home of Zambian football.
At times I say, culture, I'll find you. Sit there.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have
I'll
got,
be coming.
I've got deadlines to meet, I've got a life to live.
Yeah.
You know, the way women are looked at, even here in our country, Zambia. What would be your comments on that?
They might, you know, misunderstand. Yeah, they might think maybe you are a very irresponsible mother, you are a very irresponsible wife.
My son, fortunately, I can be able to get him a phone and he can be able to, you know, follow lessons. But what about the child in the village, in the rural areas?
For the latest club bangers and your classics, catch DJ Busy Weezy and the gang. On DJ Music Mix every Saturday night at 22:05 on TV2, the Pulse of television.
This is Andy, our company's CFO. Andy, I thought you'd be much older, and I never expected you to be so beautiful.
I am your senior with regards to both age and experience.
Oh my God! Hey man, does your mouth
Of Mopani Copper Mine Workers Terminal benefits. Copperbelt Province Minister Elisha Matambo has disclosed the development. And Mr. Matambo has warned individuals politically inciting mine workers to stage protest to desist from the practice.
And his team, the New Dawn government, they are trying their best to bring the country back to normal in terms of the economy. So I think as we move on, I think you will see as the economy will keep on improving, I think things like that will be avoided. I think you will come back to order.
Technology and Science Minister Felix Mutati says government will continue to create an environment that enables innovators to continue to thrive. Mr. Mutati says technology has the capacity to provide employment for Zambians, especially the youth. He was speaking during a meet and greet innovators breakfast meeting in Lusaka today. And Absa Bank Zambia Chief Executive Officer Mizinga Melu encouraged women in technology to continue working hard to inspire other women. You know, United Nations Development Programme UNDP Resident Representative Lionel Lawrence praised government for supporting innovation as the world today is being linked through technology. And Finnish Ambassador to Zambia Perjo Somela Chaudhry said Finland will continue to support Zambia's innovation agenda.
Partners bringing in the resource. We have got NTPC bringing in opportunity, NAPSAM supporting us. So we need that ecosystem, but that ecosystem will not happen if we don't have inventors, innovators to take advantage. And the fact that you are here today means that you appreciate that you're a key part of this ecosystem, the ecosystem of success.
As we are promoting, SMEs in the country, as well as innovation and technology, we just want to commit that as ABSA, we have continued to invest in this, in this sector. But most importantly, we believe that if we use digital technology, the costs will reduce and the sector will become more efficient.
This
event is all about exactly the sort of thing that we are doing in Finland-Zambia relations. We have focused for a long time already on the private sector, whether it's our sort of regular trade promotion activity, we work with Finnish companies and Zambian companies all the time, or our development cooperation.
The High Court in Chipata has dismissed a petition against Kasenengwa PF Member of Parliament Philemon Twasa by losing UPND candidate Beauty Undi Piri. Ms. Undi Piri alleged that Mr. Twasa, while in the company of the immediate past Kasenengwa District Commissioner, distributed bags of mealie to the voters. She alleged that the first respondent used hate speech against UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema and herself during the campaigns. But Lusaka Judge Mwila Kombe, who was hearing the matter in Chipata today, dismissed the petition on account that the petitioner failed to prove the case against the first respondent to the required standard. And in an interview after the judgment, Mr. Twasa said justice has prevailed over the matter. Efforts to get a comment from Ms. Undi Piri proved futile, as she was not before court when judgment was passed. We take another commercial break.
The Eden University National Division 1 League heats up with teams drawn from across Zambia. Catch the action live on ZNBC TV3 and never miss the chance to advertise at affordable rates. Call sales and marketing on 252-005. It's the Eden University National First Division League live on ZNBC TV3, the home of Zambian football.
At times I say, culture, I'll find you. Sit there.
Yeah,
because I have
I'll be
got
coming.
deadlines to meet, I've got a life to live.
Yeah. You know, the way women are looked at, even here in our country, Zambia. What would be your comments on that?
They might, misunderstand. Yeah, they might think maybe you are a very irresponsible mother, you are a very irresponsible wife.
My son, fortunately, I can be able to get him a phone and he can be able to, follow lessons. But what about the child in the village, in the rural areas?
For the latest club bangers and your classics, catch DJ Busy Weezy and the gang. On DJ Music Mix every Saturday night at 22:05 on TV2, the powers of television.
This is Andy, our company's CFO.
That does bring us to the end of the news, but before we leave you, let's recap on the top stories. Councils in the country have been directed to implement policies which will support development at local level. Kabwata Member of Parliament Levi Mukandawire has died. Various stakeholders have welcomed the appointment of Mumba Malila as Chief Justice. And golfer Stephen Piri has been crowned winner of the 2021 Insurers Association of Zambia golf tournament that was held in Lusaka. That concludes the news. Thank you for watching. I'm Patricia Ellis. Bye-bye.
the Eden University National Division 1 League heats up with teams drawn from across Zambia.